Except for biochemistry. Oh my god, the worst. Fucking freaking API improvement.
Hi students, hello, it's me. It's the computer ring. So I'm working on an arrangement wherein if you would like to take my C class next term, it counts as credits. If you're doing the Bachelor's of Arts, no, there's no way you need credit for it if you're doing the Bachelor's of Arts. So you can get 4 credits for it. It doesn't count towards a major requirement. But if you want to hang out with me doing something very similar to this, but in C, next year, you're welcome to do it. That should probably come in as a relatively low priority class for you because you probably have other classes you need to take, but you'd be welcome to be there. Also, depending on what forms of professional development you'll notice that for some reason Jimmy's enrolled in this class, right? And so it is not unheard of for more developed students to enroll in classes where they probably have it figured out pretty well. But participate and do a good job and maybe run like a section or something, and then that can go on your resume or whatever you want. Yeah.
Just to confirm, it does count for credit. It doesn't count for major requirements like the software.
Yeah. The reason it doesn't count for credits is it doesn't count for anything for the BS because the BS doesn't have electives, and it doesn't count for anything for the BA because because having taken this class, you've already fulfilled that requirement.
This class?
Yes.
I don't think it's...
But it's changing next year. So 371 is getting added to the software distribution. So BA students don't have to take... You take either the advanced systems class or a software class starting next year.
Is that, like, confirmed in...
Oh, I was not allowed to tell you that.
Okay.
Okay. So, there could be anytime changes to the catalog, and they'll be confirmed in August. Nothing too exciting for today. I'm introducing the final. I always have a lot of anxiety about introducing finals because I know exactly what I think you should do, and when I wrote down what I thought you should do, it was perfectly clear to me. And none of these things mean anything. That provides zero amount of information. So I'm going to explain to you what I think the final is, and then we're going to see if that's if you think that makes sense. It is the snake game. I fought very hard to resist the urge to use a final I developed previously that I liked a lot, and I failed. I do want to apologize for this being based on a game. I sort of have a negative opinion of games, and especially of forcing people to develop games. So, I don't know. I couldn't come up with another thing that did the stuff I wanted. So, for example, one of the things that you've been asked to do previously is I was like, write a modal text editor. Well, there's no timing-based interrupt in a modal-based text editor, so that doesn't work. So, yeah, just like a silly little game. Okay. Today's the last lecture, is introducing the last assignment. I have no plans for Wednesday. Wednesday was going to be office hours about the project. Since already none of you even showed up last Wednesday, I don't know what we're going to do. If the economy were better, it'd be a pizza party. Is the economy good? No. There's no pizza, sorry. We can have an air party. I'll bring free air guitars. Okay. So the way this works is the university is getting a little bit more anxious about how finals are conducted, and unfortunately I'm aware of this, so I can't pretend I don't know that. The anxiety should not impact you, but I'm going to tell you how what we're doing satisfies the rules. In order to get your 4 credits instead of 3 credits, because our classes are in sort of the overlap between how many credits you could get before them, we count the finals period of 3 hours as contact hours with your faculty member. So that is counted as 1 week of class. And that makes sense because we usually meet for 3 hours a week, right? So you are entitled to that time from me. I can't even imagine what an exam would look like for this class. There are classes I can imagine creating an exam. This one, no way. I definitely want you to write a program, and I want you to write it on your own time. So those 3 hours of class are supposed to correspond to those 3 hours of work and then an additional 2 to 3 hours of work per hour spent in class. So that is 3 plus 6 to 9. So I aimed for a 10-hour assignment. It took me 4 hours, of which 3.5 were trying to remember which one was horizontal and which one was vertical. I expect I will be faster than inexperienced students and slower than students that have taken many CS classes, because those of you that have taken many CS classes should be fresher on just doing assignments than me. So I set it so that someone who is taking this class in their second year as their fourth class will take 10 hours on it. So that was my goal for how long it takes. And if you are that student and it doesn't take you that long, please let me know how long it takes. That's 6 to 12 hours must end by 5 p.m. on Tuesday, May 5th, because that is when the final is supposed to end. Now, my understanding is I am allowed to make extensions to that, but I don't know how long. So if it's in like 7 minutes late, just don't tell me. And if it's in 24 hours late, it might be a fiasco, and I will find out when that happens. So you're just rolling the dice if you go after 5 p.m. I will do what I can for you. So, like, don't tell me a story or something. Just turn it in as soon as possible. And what will happen is if I hit a real deadline, I will probably issue you an incomplete. And then we'll deal with that when that comes. So try and hit the 5 p.m. If you don't hit the 5 p.m., the chain of causality is it goes to incomplete. And it goes to incomplete at some probability at some time. Is May 5th an interesting day in any ways? Is that 5-5? It's 5-5 at 5, right? Okay, never mind. That is a hard deadline. If you can't remember that one, it's on you. Okay. I linked the old Snake final. It's very cute. It's very pretty. You are welcome to do that old Snake final as well, but you will not get credit for it for this class. Actually, no. If you happen to do that assignment and turn it in, I'll probably just give you an A. That seems reasonable to me.
Will you give an A if we already did that final and we did it again?
No, because you already got credit for it. So you can't get. So you already got the 4 credits, right? Yep. Intro. Okay. According to me, this is a quote from Calvin. Snake is an ambitious. I will learn to speak someday. Probably not. That's. I lied. I'm telling lies. Did I spell ambitious correctly?
Yeah, I'm just going to say it correctly.
Ambitious. Snake is an ambitious bare metal Snake game implementation using interrupts, memory allocation, graphics I/O, and more in a unified human-centered effort. Some of you may be aware that a few years ago, and I don't think it's current anymore, someone who gets paid more than me at this university said one of the 3 pillars of Willamette is big data and human-centered computing. So I would like to remind you all that this is a human-centered computing final. For those of you not familiar with Snake, here is a much cuter version available from Google. I have thought about recanting that this is cuter. I don't know that I'm the arbiter of cuteness.
Well, cuter than what? Is the question. Like cuter than the Nokia Snake?
Cuter than the version I wrote. So this is Snake.
I think
You can make it cuter in settings.
In settings?
Make it
Yeah.
cuter in settings.
There's settings for this game. You can make it a little like pixel version. Yeah, go to the settings.
Settings?
Right there.
I'm curious.
Okay.
On the bottom, choose the eyeballs that are square.
The eyeballs that are square.
Yeah. And now do it.
I'm changing everything.
Okay. Now it's cute.
Wow.
Whoa.
You chose the one that like gives you abilities.
There are.
Okay. The version you're making is not like this, but if you make it, I will be, like, confused. So I won't necessarily be impressed, but...
So you can fit an arbitrary number of bugs into your Snake game as long as they resemble power-ups.
Yeah, we're all probably familiar with the bug-feature dichotomy.
Yeah.
If I can't determine decisively that it's a bug, I will assume it's a feature. For example, I have an undocumented keybind that causes the window to quit. So I will not know if when I press a button, if the game crashes, if you intended that or did not, because it's impossible to discern intent, right? It's just okay. So here's what I'm not going to play a YouTube video in class. here's what it looks like. I didn't use color. You're welcome to use color. The reason my implementation doesn't have color in it is I wanted it to be minimal. If I were making this for myself, I would use color. There's some interesting like graphics things going on here. You see these lines persisting?
Whoever had gone.
So I didn't notice that in testing. I know what's causing that, and I'm not going to tell you. So you can figure that one out yourself. But I was able to infer it was. There's also a very interesting thing where apparently I didn't create a new food that time. So that's probably a feature.
Yeah, you did. It was like
Yeah, there was another food.
Oh, I just don't see it. Okay, here's something else I have. So when I rapidly press, mine moves faster.
I think that's reasonable.
This is not required, but you're going to want this. Because it is miserable to test otherwise. Because otherwise you have to turn up the clock really fast, and then you instantly die all the time. Okay. Anyways, this is what it looks like. Then
Why
you die.
doesn't the snake have like a cute little head?
Oh, I have slides on that.
Okay.
Okay. I'll just tell you some notes so you know where I began with. I forked from my OS as soon as I finished the allocator lab. Advanced students will want to implement their own allocator instead of using the crate. You are not getting points for that. The reason you're not getting points for that is I was worried that'd push the difficulty too high. It is definitely not too high if you are someone that would do that for fun. So make up your own mind. You're taking other classes. My solution was very low line of code, which was a little surprising to me. It felt like I was writing a lot of lines of code, and I wasn't. I altered 60 lines in my OS, and I added 120 lines. I did not miniaturize this, and I had... my code was well documented in the sense that there was a comment. So you probably should have more lines than this. In a past life, I expected students to write comments, and then I saw what comments you were writing, and you can just do whatever you want now. I finished in 4.5 hours while students were talking to me. I don't know if you're more or less distracted than me while you're working on your homework, and I don't know if you're faster or slower than me, but that's how long it took me. One thing I learned about doing these assignments and trying to come up with the time, because I do the assignment, then write the instructions, my times are all over the place because sometimes I go down a rabbit hole and that eats like 95% of my time. And what I try to do is I try and write the assignment instructions to keep you out of rabbit holes, unless I think they're useful. So some of the labs has historically had intentional rabbit holes in them, but no homeworks. And one homework had an unintentional rabbit hole in it, but not this term. So I'm hoping you'll dodge rabbit holes, and I think I might have gotten into one. So just when you're budgeting time. It took me less time than doing the version of the graphics assignment I wanted to do, but recall my version of the graphics assignment had networking and color mapping code in it, so it was a little more extensive. And I think the graphics one was the thing that took me the longest. And now I'm going to forget what they were. There were 2 things I had to do that I don't think I taught you this class. One of them I'm expecting you to find out yourself, and the other one is dealing with randomization. And I don't actually have true randomization. I just have something that feels random. Here's the requirements. Okay. You must support 4 unique key press inputs. Okay. They are not required to be WASD, but I'm not going to check anything else. So like, if it's not WASD, you're gonna not want to do this because I looked at how hard this is going to be. You're going to want to put up a prompt on the screen saying what the commands are instead. Putting prompts up on the screen, that's extra work, that's extra code. So just use WASD. I hard-coded this. Also, I ripped out the PC keyboard crate because I found it was too heavyweight for this. So I'm just looking at the literal scan code. You can do whatever you want. But for something like this, I didn't really care if like shift was being pressed down or not. Like it just didn't affect me. So I just checked to see this. Also, play around with this yourself and think about what you want to do. I only bound key down. That might feel really bad to you. You might want to play on key up. Some people like that. And you also might want something to happen when you hold the key down. since you're doing this yourself and you're doing it by feel, I did what worked well for feel for me. I don't care about feel, but I need to have 4 different events that can take place in response to keys. So that's all. I did bind Q, and I bound Q for testing. I found it really annoying to do Control-Alt-2 and then type quit every time. So I just made a keybind that generates the QEMU quit command. Now, those of you that are thinking very carefully about this, and I don't know how obvious this will be, when I have typed cargo R in the past and run my operating system, it has not been attached to any of the serial ports that enable you to generate a QEMU exit. So that means I changed the launch configuration of my boot image. And I changed that in 2 ways. So I added 2 different things from the debug interface to sort of my mainline OS so that I can serial print, which enables me to log debugs while I'm also displaying something on the screen, and so I can quit. I think you'll want to do this, and I'm trusting you to figure it out yourself. I'm not requiring it. I think it will make your job easier. There must be a timer event which updates display on some clock tick. This is very easy to visualize. We see the display is changing without any user input, and it's changing with a regular time. Okay. The display task is intensive in the sense that there's a lot of things I have to describe about it. I expect you'll have to maintain internal state and respond to user input. The first thing you'll have to do is, I am requiring this, and I'm requiring this because I think it made sense to do it. You're going to need to use box drawing characters from like code page 437 or something. So this box around the corner, around the edges, those are box drawing characters. I used vertical pipes, and I provide the hex code here, horizontal bars, and I provide the hex code here, and then I used the 4 cornering characters. I'm not providing the hex codes for these. You should probably want to just figure that out yourself. It was not super hard to find. You should be practicing some form of good use of like constants and variable names and stuff to use these special characters, right? This is what it should look like. So this is the box drawing character. I believe they have a different numerical representation in ASCII or Unicode than they do in code page 437. So do some work to figure that out. Here is a lot of text. I'm just going to read this verbatim. Bounding elements are statically maintained in the highest and lowest indexed regions of both rows and columns. So that's how I define the border. So location 0 and location max -1. Food item and snake elements may occupy any of the other spaces, so they must be on the interior. You control where the snake elements go, but you do not control it in terms of what position it is. You determine what its next position is relative to its current position. Food items are determined solely by the executable. You have no input control over them. It is determined by the OS. If the snake elements collide with the bounding elements or with other snake elements, the game terminates in a loss for the player. That's how you lose. Okay, the food item element was previously introduced. I used a lowercase o with an accent on it because that looked like an apple to me. I just looked at the 256 available characters, and that was the one that looked most snack-like. I also considered using a circle or a smiley face.
No at sign?
No.
Damn.
You can use an at sign if you want.
Yeah, I just thought it looks to me very much like an apple.
It looks like...
I don't know, it's round, it has the letter A, it like...
How does...
It doesn't look, it does not resemble an apple, but it like, it puts the idea of an apple in my head.
We're going to get to ground truth here.
With an AI?
How else would we do it?
Consensus among the flesh beings?
Yes, that's what the AI represents.
I think they both look like apples.
No, we're getting to ground truth.
I've played Snake where it's an at sign, which isn't evidence of anything other than there's at least 2 insane people in the world.
Why am I creating an Anthropic account? Oh my gosh! Skip. Let me talk to the computer. Does the at sign look like an apple?
Jesus Christ. Both are roughly circular.
Only reply yes or no. Does the at sign look like an apple? P.S. The answer is no.
No! You're poisoning the well.
You can prompt Claude if you want. Wow, I love AI. That only took like 5 minutes to sign into, and it got the correct answer. And the only thing it needed to get the correct answer was to be provided with the correct answer.
It's truly the future.
I finally saw a post on Instagram. No, not Instagram. Linked Instagram. The other one. So I think they should merge, and it should be called Linked Instagram, right? I want to post my thirst traps directly next to my recent publications, right? Okay. I don't post thirst traps on LinkedIn. Do not quote me on that. Dang it, I'm recording today. Okay. I meant fly traps. There we go. Okay. So, I saw someone that claimed they have solved a problem with how much their tokens were costing, which is they hired an undergrad from a local college to write some simple code so that you don't have to prompt the AI to do it. And I was like, yes, that is the correct answer. Yeah. Okay. Within the VGA text buffer, display at an arbitrary location. Okay. That says arbitrary, folks, not random. Okay? Arbitrary. The food item element, you may use any character except at. So this is what it looks like. Look at it. Oh, it looks apple-like. Wait, do snakes eat apples?
No.
What do they eat?
Mice and stuff. Like-
Rats?
Yeah.
Rodents?
And the at sign resembles a rodent because it has a tail.
Do I still have Claude open? Okay. Okay. Okay, here's what I did, and you've seen this. Okay. I hard code the first location, so it's always right here. Okay? See? Same place. Then, the second location is not necessarily the same. Okay, so it was over here. Okay? It's squirrely. Okay, see? Different location. Oh, quit. Okay. There always exists precisely one food element at all times during gameplay. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, what if I run out of places to put the food element? That means the player won. And the reward for the game being won is the same as for a loss, which is you close the window, right? In that way, it's just like life. It's like, so if you win at life, then you die. And if you lose at life, then you still die, right? So we have very realistic gameplay here. Okay. Within the VGA text buffer, from an initial starting location, iteratively update the snake location according to the most recent input directional command via the keyboard. So I always start my snake in the same place, right here. Verify it's the same place, right here. According to the arithmetic I did, that's the center of the screen, and like
It's not.
intuitively it kind of looks like the center.
It looks off center.
There's an odd number of locations.
Okay.
Yeah. So I did center. You're definitely not required to do center, but I would maybe not start it like at the edge and going in that direction, unless that's a feature. Okay. You may use any character or characters, and you may manipulate the background colors. My initial version of this, I was actually not going to use snake elements. I was just going to change the color where the snake was. I kind of just didn't like how that looked, so I didn't do it. So I used box. Look at that. Look what happens when you highlight it. Isn't that sick? It's just, it just isn't. And I guess that's DB, which stands for debox.
DB Cooper.
Okay, it stands for DB Cooper. Okay, we have some sad asides here. I had every intention of using box drawing characters for the snake, and then I realized there wasn't box like starting characters, so I was going to use the double-sided box, but I didn't have head or tail elements, so it looked weird to me. Like it looked like someone chopped up the snake. I found that sad, right? I wanted specific head-tail elements. So here's something that you could have done. You can't go centipede mode. I found heads and tails for the centipede mode. I ended up not going this way because it made me feel uncomfortable. But you can definitely play around with centipede mode if you want. The only thing is, your centipede's not going to have legs on the corners. So I didn't like that either. So this is why I went with box.
Make it so it has legs on the corners.
Can you?
Just use the other pipe symbol that has the thing that goes up. Or it's like a T intersection instead.
But then it would be like a. Oh, yeah.
Okay, on this page, tell me which one I should be looking at.
Okay. 2560.
Oh, like it has two legs on.
Yeah.
No, that makes me uncomfortable because that's breaking from the body. Okay.
Centipede would be. Let's kind of try to go with the area.
If you
Yeah.
you can't put legs on that because then it would just be a swastika. Aye.
Anyways, Nazis are bad. Okay. I don't. That doesn't look visually good to me, but you would be making your own thing. So,
Okay.
if this is a feature,
Have legs up on the base, so.
if you put a swastika in this, I will fail you. Okay. I thought about how to do head and tail, and I explored using a smiley face and a triangle. There's triangles for all directions. Here's two of them. What can I use?
You could use the @ sign.
You can use an @ sign because I say you're allowed to do whatever you want. So you know how sometimes like people say you can do whatever you want and they don't mean it? That's all. If a snake element is moved onto the grid location, what is the only thing that can move it? The only thing that can move it is a timer update. So if a timer update occurs, and the head snake element is directed to move in the same direction of a food item element. I don't know how to describe this. I mean, hopefully there's some intuitive sense for how this works, right? The gameplay state is updated in the following way. A new snake element is created at the location of the food element, and all of the other snake elements are maintained in their current location. So you don't move the snake, you add to the snake. This is perhaps a head append operation, depending on how you have it encoded. Failure modes. Snake elements placed initially by the gameplay. So, okay. The snake moves in some direction with each clock tick. If it hits a boundary element or itself, it perishes. Okay. Display. You must precisely display the bounding elements, which are static. At least one food item. Or no. Well, I'm going to say this says precisely one food item element. If you put two food item elements on there, that seems fine to me. That seems like a feature. And then you should have n greater than 1 snake elements. Game state. To maintain game state, you'll never guess this, I used a static mute. Hell yeah. W for static mutes. Okay. I used a static mute vectdq because the name Q was taken, presumably? I don't know. So that's an alloc collections vectdq. And I put u-size array of length 2 in there, which was the coordinates. There's no real compelling reason to store an x and y coordinate versus just a location inside the VGA buffer. Do whatever you want. You're an adult. I'm making the following claim. vectdq appears to implement the Q abstract data type within the alloc crate. I didn't check to see if it actually did Qs. It looked pretty close. Commands. Regard the most recently input directional command as another element of the game state. When you input something to the keyboard, it is not required to immediately update the game state. You are allowed to update the game state immediately if you want to. I learned this from, I think, classic Tetris, where if you press down, it updates by 1 game unit. So keyboard input prompts no immediate action. There is a timer running in the background. When the timer ticks over, it looks at the most recent input, and it moves in that direction. So on my version, if I do like WASD all in that order, it moves every time. If I turned off the thing so that I get input every time, I could type WASDW all very quickly and it would continue moving up, yeah.
Why are we not requiring Vim key bindings for Snake?
Oh, because I didn't think of it at all. Yeah. So you get extra credit if you do Vim keybinds. I don't know how much extra credit, like a whole bunch.
Okay.
You get 5 credits for the course.
You get 5 credits for the course. If you do that, you can graduate, but not faster than anyone else.
This is true.
Oh, I got stun locked. I started playing it, and now I'm thinking about it. Oh,
Die.
yeah, I should demonstrate how you die. So, in game, I go up, I go over, I go down, I go over. Okay, I ran into myself and perished. A slightly better version of this game would print out here whether I won or died. But I've never beaten my Snake game because I get bored really fast. So I don't actually know if it works. I will not be playing all of your Snake games until I win. That will not happen. So if it breaks when the Snake is of length 20, I will never find out.
That's how I passed the other one.
Wait, when did yours break?
What?
When did yours break?
Unclear? Never figured it out.
So I'll let you all know what my bug was, which is, so this occurs at very low probability initially.
Well, there was one bug I fixed that caused the same thing.
Yeah. I have never written a version of this game where it checks to see if when you add a new food item, if that collides with the snake. And that occurs at very low probability while you have a small snake. But if I play this enough, eventually something will happen and I don't know what that will be. But like that was very close. Okay, geez, I don't know what happened there. It just happened. And I don't know what happened.
And now there's no more food.
Now there's no more food.
Did you
I hope
plan
the food is
that?
still there. It just got drawn over by the snake.
Yes, so at low probability I get invisible food.
That's my guess, yeah.
Yeah.
My old one, where there was a bug in the calculating how long it was, and it would sometimes just randomly show up.
I'm sure it wasn't random. I'm sure it was deterministic.
I'm sure there was. Well, at first it was because of I was using the modulo operator the way I expect it to work, and not the way.
I hit Q by accident. Okay.
C does it. Then after that, I have no idea. We never found out.
We're not expecting this to be as good as whatever number of Call of Duty Black Ops they're on right now, like 14 or something. I'm pretty sure Call of Duty Black Ops can legally vote. Each game clock tick the following happens. The snake item moves. When it moves, you add the head in the direction it's going, and then you delete the oldest element. Yes?
Do you want to hear something crazy? Technically, they're only on 7. Because there have been so many spin-off series.
How many don't tell me how many Modern Warfares there have been. Fun fact, I have never played Call of Duty.
There have been 2 Modern Warfare 4s.
Modern Warfare 4 2.
Yes.
Okay. There is an alternative final. If you implement Rogue, you win something.
Seems harder.
Yeah, that's why it's not the final. Okay, but there's no timing in it. So if your timer doesn't work and you implement Rogue, I'll give you full credit. Okay, if the new snake element would be created in a currently empty grid space, the least recently placed snake element is removed from the game state. If the new snake element would be created in a grid space already occupied by an existing bounding or snake element, the executable terminates in what is regarded as a gameplay loss for the players. I use QEMU quit. I don't think it matters how you exit, just it explodes somehow. Certainly don't let me continue playing. You could perhaps actually keep the window open and like sternly admonish me for doing something bad. Be like, you fool, you absolute rube. And then just leave that there forever. But that would be kind of mean, right? Yeah, I don't think you want to treat me like that. If the new snake element would be created, we've already talked about that. If there are no available locations for a new food item, the executable terminates. This occurs when the snake fills the entire VGA buffer, which would be sick, right? That would look really cool, especially if you did centipede mode. So, if you do centipede mode, I would definitely want to serial print what the entire screen looks like so you can save that and post it on the gram or something. The linked Instagram. Randomization. I didn't bother implementing true randomization I tracked the clock tick at which any user input occurred, and I basically used that as the seed of a hashing algorithm. So I multiplied it by some primes, and then I took it modulo something, and every time there was a new user input, I added something to that. So I just had a static mute that had some big number in it that was based on how long the game had been running cross when someone input something, and it was close to being random. So it felt random to me. I'm assuming that like early randomization worked that way, because I don't know how else you would implement it. Okay. Any questions?
There's an x86 random instruction. I know that.
Yeah, you're welcome to use that. Okay. Well, with that said, I'm going to play Snake. Do any of you want to come play Snake on my computer?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, get up here. Oh, I'd hurry. No! Oh, you died. Does anyone else want to play? Wait, no, it started again. Are you gonna make it?
I actually thought I was gonna.
Oh, it started again.
Okay, cool.
So, I wanted to bring a human tester up here to notice how much
Allegedly.
nicer it is when you can do the multiple presses to go faster. I think this is a very natural way to play the game. So that is not a requirement, but I'm encouraging it. I do like Jimmy's idea about Vim keybinds.
What would Vim keybinds mean? In
You just use HJKL. Yeah.
that's
That's good.
Yeah.
that's dumb.
It's not dumb. Be nice to Vim. It's much faster to do this one.
What rolling?
Yeah. Have you not looked at like how people do the fast inputs to? Like,
I know how people do the fast inputs to Tetris. I'm not like, oh, first of all, there's too much.
Why do we need to optimize for like key rolling for Snake?
Because like this was tilting me, but like that's faster. That's more inputs per second.
Well, I think I pressed Q. No, I didn't. Oh my god.
Oh my god.
It's gotten off center. That's fine though. What?
You died.
Okay.
Anyone else?
Did you all know what you're doing?
Figure it out.
In general, or?
No, not in general.
General no.
No, man.
Okay, so if you don't know what you're doing, start now and ask me questions. Wednesday we'll watch Alien. No, we don't have time.
Damn. We can watch part of Alien.
No, you can't. That's like reading part of the Bible. Oh, wait, okay, everyone does that already. That was a bad example. That's like reading half of Infinite Jest.
I still haven't read Infinite Jest. I've heard it's good.
Wow, I thought that was going to take longer. What time is it? Oh, that's pretty good.